Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our milestone 100th episode. It's been an incredible journey of learning, growth, and impact. We are deeply grateful to each one of you, our viewers, our speakers, and our partners for being with us through this session, every insightful session, and every milestone. This platform was built to help MSMEs like yours make better decisions, stay ahead of industry trends, and grow confidently. And with your continued support, we've been successfully able to deliver on that promise. As we move forward, we intend to keep bringing you timely, practical, and forward-looking knowledge to help you build a future-ready business. For today's session, it is an absolute honor to welcome our speaker, a business leader, celebrated author, global policy influencer, and an ardent champion of MSMEs and women-led enterprises.
Ms. Archana Garodia Gupta.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome on board.
Thank you for having me.
She is a distinguished alumna of IIM Ahmedabad and has served as the chairperson of FICCI Flow and the national chair of FICCI MSME Committee, where she has been instrumental in shaping India's small business policies and elevating MSMEs to global conversations. Notably, Archana ma'am used to represent India on the BRICS Financial Committee, leading the SME Task Force, a critical role in aligning MSME growth with international cooperation. A nationally recognized quiz champion, Archana ma'am rose to fame by winning the BBC Mastermind India quiz in 2001 and the Champion of Champions title in 2002. Her contributions have earned her several accolades, including the Bharat Nirman Award for Women Entrepreneurship. Ma'am's voice brings with it a rare intersection of sharp policy thinking, ground-up business insights, and inclusive leadership, exactly what India's MSMEs landscape needs as it moves into its next phase of digital global and sustainable growth. Today, as we mark the milestone 100th episode of the MSME Masterclass, she will speak on a timely and transformative theme, e-commerce as an engine of growth for the MSME ecosystem.
Please join me in welcoming Ms. Archana Garodia Gupta.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome on board.
Thank you. I think it's a very important thing you're doing in this platform because the MSMEs are the backbone of our economy. So it's very important to help them grow.
Yes, ma'am. And to begin with that, how do you see e-commerce changing India's MSME manufacturing landscape
in 2025 and the years ahead?
So I would say I run an MSME myself. And I have a great deal of experience both personally in running the business and working with so many MSMEs in my role as FICCI, chair of the FICCI National Committee for MSMEs. For MSMEs, normally the biggest problem is market reach. And of course, there are many problems, but market reach. And e-commerce helps us reach customers which we would not reach otherwise, both locally and globally. I think India's huge strength is I would believe our secret weapon is the fierce entrepreneurship that we see in India. And this gives a global reach and a national reach to India's MSMEs. So I think it can truly transform India's MSME and MSME outreach if this opportunity is seized with both hands.
Ma'am, when you speak to traditional manufacturers, what benefits of e-commerce do you feel they often overlook beyond just wider reach?
See, as a person I'm a traditional manufacturer. And I used to retail, I used to do B2C, B2B. When I shifted over substantially to e-commerce, so one thing that happened is that, of course, I reached out to customers and, B2C customers, even B2B customers who I was not accessing earlier. But for example, I used to hold stock in so many locations. Now, today I hold stock in one location. So my investment in stock and, moving it, dead stock, all of that has become less. Marketing staff. I used to have marketing staff in so many locations. That has now become concentrated in one place and the numbers have reduced. Credit. If you're selling B2B, to a few traditional people, then you have to give a lot of credit, and collecting payments is a nightmare. There are bad debts. If you can switch to B2C and B2B online, the element of credit becomes less. And all your data, what is happening, becomes something verifiable by banks and other lending institutions. So your credit availability also increases. So just some of the benefits which I've found with e-commerce.
And ma'am, according to you, are there any policy moves or ecosystem efforts you've seen that genuinely helped small manufacturers go digital?
Well, one, I would like to say something. Today, answering your earlier question, today almost 20% of business is being transacted worldwide by e-commerce. And the growth rate of e-commerce is much higher than the growth rate of, all businesses combined. So if you are an early mover, or if you go towards e-commerce, the enterprise is going to see a higher growth rate. Today, I was looking at the numbers. So $35 trillion is the B2B e-commerce. B2C is about 7 trillion, which is much less actually than the B2B. I think very few of us realize, but B2B e-commerce is 6-7 times the quantity of B2C e-commerce. All the headlines are grabbed by the B2C e-commerce. So here I would like to say, answering your previous question, that the growth opportunity, if you get into e-commerce, you move, even if in your traditional business, you're not in a high growth area, if you get into that same business in the e-commerce, you will be in a higher growth area.
Right.
Okay. What was your last question?
Are there any policy moves or ecosystem efforts that you've seen, has helped small manufacturers go digital?
So, over the last few years, we have something which is called the India Stack, which is an Aadhaar to every person, your Jan Dhan Yojana, the increase in the mobile penetration where everybody has access to smartphones. And I would like to say India Post and the things that the government has done to make using India Post easier for posting parcels. This India Stack is something that is going to help suppliers all over the country to get into e-commerce, to receive payments, to do compliance, and to, send their goods. So this is one solid policy move, it is the benefit to e-commerce is incidental. But without this, a lot of it would not be possible. It would not have penetrated as deep as it has, both for the buyers and for the sellers, because it's possible for, and of course, our mobile payments. So, ability to all these companies which have come up, which allow distance payment like Google Pay or, Phone Pay and Paytm and all. The government is encouraging e-commerce. It is trying to set up hubs. It is making the policy easier. Recently, RBI has taken out a regulation where earlier for even a small shipment, there used to be a stack of paperwork to, show the export, full export documentation had to be done for a $15 parcel, which was totally unfeasible. Now they've taken out a thing where you can do it together and, the paperwork has substantially lessened. So these kind of things, sometimes the changes seem to be minor, but it's a very major change for the e-commerce operator, and there are many hurdles. So as part of even e-commerce, I'm part of e-commerce associations, and we give a lot of suggestions. Slowly, the government is handling each of them.
Now, ma'am, from your perspective, why do some MSMEs still hesitate to take the online route despite seeing others succeed?
I think, anything new is a little scary. It's, you feel a little hesitant. Once you've gone there and once you're in it, then you realize, oh, it was so easy and why didn't I do it earlier? But if you've been doing things in a particular way, especially if you're a little older and you're used to doing things in a particular way, people are skeptical. But here I believe that as more and more people use these routes, and if you see somebody doing something in, say, the south of India, you won't believe it. But if your two neighbors start doing it, and you can see the business they are getting, then you will also go after it. So I think it's about getting, one, critical mass, and two, when your immediate peer group adopts it, people will adopt it.
And ma'am, what about smaller towns or tier 2 or 3 clusters? Can e-commerce really help them scale nationally or even globally?
Here, this is one of my most favored topics to talk about, because you see, in India, did we see at the time of lockdown, we saw that there were almost, I think there are, if I'm not mistaken, 400 million migrant laborers, because there's no work in the villages and the smaller towns, and everybody moves to the cities. And they leave their families behind because the income isn't enough to support a family in, say, Bombay or Delhi. And I feel India is the country with the most migrant laborers. Actually, India is a country with the most people anywhere. But it's a country with the most migrant laborers. It's a very not nice way to live. Why would you want so much of your population? Families are separated, you're living alone most of the year. This is not something that's going to contribute to the happiness of our people. And at the end of the day, economic growth, GDP, these are all just ways of increasing our happiness and well-being. And being able to live with your family is something that is really going to contribute to the well-being of our nation, even at the same income. Now, the beauty of e-commerce is that people who are situated away from the big cities can also sell and run their businesses in smaller towns and generate employment where they are, which will enable people to live with their families. I'd like to give an example here. There is this website called Taobao, which is a Chinese website. And they are people, it's owned by Alibaba, and it promotes rural selling. So few years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, they started setting up training centers in rural areas where they would train farmers. And, you could sell anything, millet, whatever, buckets, whatever it can be produced in that area. And you have stories like this farmer sold his buffalo to buy a computer and things like that. They would try to create at least 100 sellers in that village. And once you had 100 sellers, it would be called a Taobao village. Then the Chinese government got after, they became part of this activity. And they set up a target for 1 lakh Taobao villages, which I think has been achieved. What it did is it reversed rural migration. Not only did people stop going to the cities, but even people who had gone from that village came back and started running businesses from their village. So this is something which I have recommended quite often to the government. Maybe we should get after it. We have 2.5 lakh computer training centers in the country. If we can combine that and set up training, maybe work with platforms like Amazon or Flipkart or any, which are the ones which draw the maximum business, and create training. Maybe you don't even need to train those 100 farmers, like you had the village postmasters who would write letters for everybody. Everybody didn't need to be literate. You could have, you could train 3 or 4 people to do listings and, create that center with maybe a computer and a scanner and, some photography. Now the phones are good enough, but a good phone. And you could literally transform the village without really having to go anywhere. There's enough craft skill, there's enough local manufacturing. You probably wouldn't even need investment in machinery and infrastructure. So for tier 2, tier 3, I think well-structured e-commerce, training intervention, maybe creating warehouses would be something which could be transformative, and especially if you work with women and women entrepreneurs, it could function the way Grameen transformed Bangladesh, it could transform our country.
Right. Ma'am, according to you, what are some practical hurdles that manufacturers face while onboarding themselves onto an e-commerce platform?
So, first of all, your images and your content and your presentation has to be of a certain standard. So this is something you can either solve by training yourself, or you need to access some good, reliable service provider who will do this for you, because everybody doesn't have such good English or, photography. Images need to be edited. So either you have to set up your own team, and especially if you're a small manufacturer, you may not be able to afford people of that level. But nowadays you have service providers who do this work for you. They do your imaging, they'll do your content writing, to reach out to them. The other way of solving this hurdle, which I'm doing now, is AI. Wonderful, the AI tools can give you beautiful images, they can give you very nicely worded content. So that is one hurdle. The second is packaging. So you have to create packaging which is sturdy and which doesn't get damaged in transit, because frankly, I remember when we started off our business and a courier came to our factory to pick up, and it was in a big sack, all the parcels that had to go out. And to my horror, I saw him kicking it down the stairs. I said, stop, what are you doing? But, out of sight, there's nothing to stop him throwing it from the truck or doing whatever he wants with it, playing football. And at that point, I said that, okay, I do jewelry. It's not that strong. You can't, So I said, okay, now we have to design a packaging. After I did my packaging, I had my QC person throw it downstairs twice from the second floor. And I called 2 people from my office and I said, please play football with this packet for about 3 or 4 minutes. And now let us open it and see what's happened to the jewelry. So this is something which you really need to look at. You can't have a smashed up product and smashed up box also reaching your customer. And so this I'm talking about B2C. B2B is reaching a customer and then doing standard shipments. Customs, if you're doing global, then getting the right freight forwarder, getting the right customs clearances, banking, which I have to say, as I told you, RBI has simplified the process substantially. So I'm quite grateful. We had to clear a few thousand bills and we were not looking forward to it. So this is there. And of course, making sure your product and design are in line with whatever segment you choose. An advantage is that whatever you're making, there is somebody out there in the world who wants that. If you're in a particular place and you're just trying to sell to the neighboring areas, they may not want very much what you're making. But there's always someone, some area, some segment who really likes what you're already doing. So that is again another advantage of being in e-commerce.
Now, ma'am, tell us, once these companies get online, how can MSMEs maintain their brand identity, pricing power, and customer loyalty, even when competing with such large sellers?
So, 2-3 pieces of advice I'd like to give. One, do focus on your brand story. This is a mistake a lot of us make, and even we did right at the beginning, where we were just focusing on the product, but not talking about ourselves, our manufacturing process, our relationship, traditional design, brand sourcing from artisans, things like that. Do create a good brand story. Even if you think, you're a small brand, but there's always people who like niche brands. The second is that you really have to be responsive to the customer. If you're looking at B2B, of course, all of us are used to B2B and how to treat a good customer. But B2C, customers should be able to reach out to you easily. The phone has to be picked up in 2 or 3 days. Your email has to be replied in half an hour. If there is a problem, benefit of doubt goes to the customer. I can tell you, as a person who does buy on e-commerce, I've seen, and please get onto the major platforms like Amazon and Flipkart and all for credibility. For sale, of course, but for credibility, because suppose I see an Insta ad, say, for some product. You're going to have to do advertising in various ways. Suppose I see an Insta ad for products. I will search that company before trusting my money to it. And I will look for reviews. And I will not typically trust the reviews which are on the site because anybody can put them up. So I look for third-party reviews like Amazon or Flipkart and all, which are more difficult to fake, So you need to have that, you need to create that brand credibility on verifiable platforms. And if I've had a bad experience with the site, I will never go back to it and I will discourage others from buying from it. I got a shirt which was the wrong size and I had a real nightmare trying to return it. So that's it. That site is over for me, right? And if somebody says, I saw this, and I'll say, just don't deal with it. If you can buy that same product on Amazon, do that. I'll tell you another thing I do. If I see a particular product on an Insta ad and I like it, I will go and check on Amazon first. Do I get the same product? And even if it is a little bit more, I will tend to buy it there because I feel safer. So, but long term, you must create your own brand. You must create your own community of people. एक term होता है. There's a term in Hindi, we call it grahaki, which is your customer base. So you have to reach out for that. You have to create brand stories. And quite often, a lot of brands have used educational blogs and postings about the product to keep bringing customers back to your site to just read about it. Suppose you're doing a health food product, then you'll talk about, say, something amla based, then you may have a blog on the benefits of amla, the history of things like that. That are ways of building visits and ways of building credibility.
Now, ma'am, we know that a digital skills gap is real and it exists. Can you tell our attendees how can we help MSME owners and their teams bridge that gap without overwhelming them?
Okay. So this is again an issue which I have worked with, and especially with women entrepreneurs, because as president of FICCI Ladies organization, we did work with Amazon and Flipkart and Snapdeal and Shop Clues. We worked with all of them to try and onboard women entrepreneurs onto digital platforms. So, what can an association do? Let me put things like that. What can the government do? As I said, government should hold training, should create training, e-commerce training centers, tie up with major platforms like Shopify and Amazon and all of that, and use maybe the computer training centers or whatever infrastructure they already have existing, and hold regular classes. One, physical classes, because a lot of us are not comfortable with online learning. Two, maybe create a portal, create a site where you can go and there are videos for online learning, training, free. Anybody should be able to go and be able to train themselves. How do I use Amazon? How do I use this? How do I take photographs? Create short videos. A lot of people create those kind of training videos. But if it's there together in one site and credible, then I think that will help a lot of people. So you need to learn how to use the site. You need to learn how to create images. You need to learn how to create, edit things, how to create content, and I think how to use AI to do all those things, because it has become much simpler. It has become much, much simpler. If you know how to use, say, ChatGPT or Perplexity or something, it's a piece of cake, frankly. And what associations can do is, again, tie up with government, tie up with self-help groups, tie up with these portals. So in Flow, we had held training sessions by Amazon with onboarding on the spot for in Lucknow for chicken curry people, or in the Northeast for women weavers and on. And it doesn't have to be the artisans. It can be entrepreneurs who are working with artisanal goods, because that is going to work better. And sometimes the styling sense is better for the entrepreneur. The weavers have the skill, but to understand what the market wants, you do need, a different set of skills. So that's what associations can do. As and individuals like us, I mean, even NGOs and all, can become part of this, because this is about, I think there is a huge role for NGOs, especially those who work with women's self-help groups. I think there's a huge role for them to, come into this space and maybe set up a small center which can service 100 women, say, in a village. There's nothing to stop creating a small infrastructure. One thing I would, in India, we have a large number of smartphones. But in a family, especially poorer families, the women don't have them. It's the men who get the smartphones and the women who get the simpler ones. So once, like Odisha they had this Mission Shakti to empower women, and they gave a smartphone to every self-help group. So self-help group of 10 women who could then use these for, banking, this, whatever digital stuff, but also this. So to get, and the other thing you could do is, instead of trying to train every single person to be able to do e-commerce, is maybe create and educated girls, maybe somebody who's done their graduation, to become a e-commerce enabler, who could then enable 20 people, 30 people, maybe work on some percentage of the sales or however it is. I always like to say, you go to a village, there will be educated girls. Pick up 2 or 3 of them, 3-4 of them, train them, and then they can just transform that entire village. You don't have to teach 1,000 women in that village. Teaching those 4 or 5 will be enough of an enabler and help you with this digital gap. So Yeah, and MSME associations can create, maybe each association can have a list of service providers which they can provide to their members. Vet them, put it up on their website, and that would help them bridge their digital gap.
Ma'am, do you feel we need more shared infrastructure or training modules for MSMEs who want to enter the e-commerce space? And what might that look like?
Yes, we definitely need more shared infrastructure. As I said, these are MSMEs, they don't have unlimited budgets to spend. So suppose I decide I'm an MSME, I make plastic chairs, and I want to reach out to just now I'm supplying to some couple of retail shops. They don't pay me in 5 months. Some of them don't pay me. So I want to be able to sell online, but I don't know what to do. It would be wonderful if in my industrial area, there is a center which is set up by the local association or by the government, whoever. And I can just go there, meet a person who would help me list, or go there and reach out to them. They can say, yes, we have these 4 service providers in our region, and they'll charge you 5,000 rupees a month, 10,000 rupees a month. It's not much more than that. And they'll come, they'll take your photographs, they will list you on the other things. If you pay 30,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees, they'll create a website for you. If you pay them this percentage of your ad spend, they will do the Google advertising. And, if it is for me, and if I know that it's not a dead, it's not a risky investment of which I don't know whether I'll get a return, but something I'm paying on a monthly basis, I'll be quite glad to do it. If it doesn't work out, I can stop it. And my cost of entry, basically this lowers the cost of entry. And it lowers the requirement I would have to judge whether this person is good or it's not, is going to scam me, which is unfortunately a way of life in so often. So if you could have, when you're shipping, if I'm shipping, I get a certain rate if I'm sending 5 parcels a month. If I'm sending 5,000 parcels a month, I'll get a different rate, right? There's a concept of an e-commerce hub or warehouse, which is being talked about by the government, where they're even thinking of farming it out to somebody. So you can bid to make an e-commerce hub. Suppose I'm in Noida, and there's an e-commerce hub, a couple of kilometers, where they will do the warehousing, labeling, and ship out. So shipping rates would fall drastically, right? If you're doing half containers and container loads, timing would become much less. So you could have e-commerce hubs or warehouses set up across the country, especially in industrial areas or maybe near airports. Just now, what happens? Suppose I want to service I'm selling globally, I'm selling in 100 countries. Currently, I'm doing that. But then I have to warehouse my goods in so many countries. Say I warehouse in Germany, I can service Europe, but I need one in US. And then once the goods have gone, it's a big problem to get it back if it doesn't get sold. And I've already paid freight, so that becomes an additional investment for me, because the freight costs as much as the goods, end of the day. And because this is another major area in which the government has to act is, if I'm getting a return back of my goods which I'd exported, they make me pay duty on it, as if I was importing goods from somewhere else. So it becomes once it's gone, it's gone. And if it doesn't sell, I have to trash it there. I have to throw it in unless I find some liquidator, which is very difficult again. So some countries create offshore hubs, or say your e-commerce hub is there. For export, if you can do custom clearance, and get your goods in the warehouse, which is, say, near Delhi airport. So I have notionally exported it, but I've not paid the freight. And if there's a flight out every day, then I can supply from India. I can't tell my customers to wait for a week or 10 days in the US. But if I get a flight out every day and it joins with the e-commerce hub, say in the US, and FedEx or whoever takes it and delivers it there, my cost would be about the same as if I'd sent it there, and the warehouse charges me quite a bit for handling because I'm paying US minimum wages, right? Here, all the pasting, labeling, shipping, all of that will be done by Indian labor. That, I don't know if you're familiar, but Amazon warehouse, I don't know if you saw this movie Nomadland, which won an Oscar. So there is this huge economy of people who are working in Amazon warehouses. Why can't those jobs come to India? We just do the warehousing here, handling and all, and you just put it in a box, it goes there, and FedEx or whoever delivers it, and all that warehouse work is done in India. If we do something like that, just think about it. So many more people, as of today, if you're trying to do global e-commerce, parcel by parcel, cost you 700, 800, 1,000 rupees a parcel. Who's going to pay that? Nobody. But if you do it this way, maybe you could get away with 200 rupees, 300 rupees, and then the whole world opens up, right? So this is creating these warehousing near airports, near the sea. Near the sea you don't really, but still, if you can put together a lot of people's shipments, it works out much cheaper. And for me, it's very easy. Suppose I have sent some goods there. Suppose there's a return. It'll come into that warehouse. And if I want to take it out from the warehouse, I can clear it and take it out. And it's vetted. So, the government is not afraid that I'm sending out, brass and importing silver, gold, which is a reason why they make it difficult to re-import. But if you do it in this mechanism, then that goes away. So this is something which I hope is taken up strongly. And here it will have to, maybe government, individuals, for them to set up this kind of custom cleared warehouse, they would need to cooperate with the government. Right. It could be PPP.
Correct. Now, ma'am, we've seen that e-commerce is rising, and how have the financing and working capital needs of MSMEs changed, and are they becoming more complex?
No, I would think, what has happened. For example, I'm working with my bank on a traditional CC limit, overdraft limit, whatever, that standard mechanism. But I keep getting mails from all sorts of finance companies, and even Amazon I sell on Amazon, so it is tied up with various companies. So they see the volume of my business, right? The amount of business you do becomes much more transparent and much more verifiable. So lending companies feel more comfortable. They can see your revenue streams. They can see how stable your business is. So this data availability, because it becomes third-party verifiable data, you do find that getting credit has become easier. It used to be tougher earlier. So that, not part of e-commerce, but part of all these online financing companies that have coming up, which again is helped by the India Stack, because your Aadhaar number can fetch you any amount. Aadhaar and PAN, it can fetch you all the data, whatever. We are living in a very, I won't say surveillance, but whatever we do is really available to whoever, so, which is good in terms of financial credibility verification.
Now, ma'am, do you think new credit models like ONDC linked lending or data backed scoring will reshape how MSMEs get their funding?
I think so. One of my pet peeves, I remember I was in a banking conference, and somebody said that, one of the panelists, they said that in India, MSMEs are dwarfs. They remain dwarfs. They don't grow into very big businesses. And my answer to that is that in India, we always had collateral-based lending. Banks will not lend you more than the amount of, so while you're, for MSMEs. For larger businesses, that's not the case. But for MSMEs, though the government offers collateral-free loans, the banks don't like to give it. They will hide it. They will avoid it in all ways, because while the government is guaranteeing CGT and TMS and all, while the government is guaranteeing the company, but when banks go to, in case of a bad debt, when banks go to recover it, it's extremely cumbersome for them. This is my experience of talking with bankers. So why don't you offer it? So they say this is the reason. It's very difficult to recover it from the government. So basically, very seldom, most MSMEs don't get collateral-free loans. Now, the minute you are working on 100% collateral, basically it's only your profit, right? You can only grow as much as your profit, because to buy that collateral, you've used your profit. And then you're getting a loan against that amount. So basically, if you look at it, MSMEs are unbanked. The CC limit you're getting is just that you're giving your property and you're getting a loan against it. But you had used your own money to buy that property. Even if you do a loan, the CC limit you'll get will only be the difference between the existing loan on the property plus that. So an MSME can grow only as much as its own profit. Suppose there's an MSME, it's performing very well. It does a good job. It gets a Walmart order of say 10 crores. And its current business is say 3-4 crores. And its collateral is say a building worth 3 crores. It will not be able to access the finance from a traditional bank. Now, with digital verification, with data-based thing, and see the other angle, why is this not a problem in other countries to this extent? Why is it a problem in India? Because this would happen anywhere in the world, right? It's because loan justice and loan recovery is very slow. People don't want to get into it. So another element of infrastructure, which you were saying, what you would like from the government is maybe fast settlement courts for MSME loans. If you do that, if a banker or a lender knows he will recover his money in case it is recoverable, if he knows that, then he'll be more willing to lend without collateral. As of now, the only thing that keeps them from non-collateral loans have a much higher bad debt issue, So, yeah, I think all these online based, and now with AI, you can say that if you see this behavior pattern in a future borrower, then the probability of returning the loan is such and such. Here, I would like to say something. Women borrowers have a much better return ratio. Loan, this is a data which can be verified, and there's an IFC study that says that. I'm not saying women are more honest or anything by nature, but maybe they don't like to get into situations. They don't like to be chased by loan recovery people, or they're a little more cautious. They don't like to go to court. Just maybe it's cultural conditioning, whatever it is. It could be any of the above. Of course, they could be better human beings. I'm not saying that. But the data says that the recovery is much better for women borrowers. So maybe this is something lenders should look at, banks, NBFCs, online platforms. Maybe they should give women a few more marks when they're evaluating, grace marks, 10 mark de do aur.
Ma'am, do you feel the push towards digital selling is prompting more succession conversations in a family-led MSME?
Yes, I think, this is almost a crisis in India, because people who have set up their businesses and MSME owners, it's been hard for them because there are vagaries in the economy. It goes up, it goes down. One of the biggest problems MSMEs face is recovery of their money, because people, buyer will not pay. And you cannot recover in the court. As I said, the courts are pretty, though the government has put in MSME loans, this, that, but everybody knows, even the government owes huge amounts of money to the MSMEs. I think last I heard 60,000-70,000 crores. MSMEs are really not the people to get your credit from. There's something they should be prompter in their payment, PSUs. So the children of MSME owners, normally they are well off enough and they are smart, so they get very good education. If you see, most of the MSME owners, their children are well educated. Quite often they don't want to get into this kind of stress situation. And they don't really they've seen their parents struggling. So very often I've seen they'd rather be abroad somewhere working, or, working for a MNC here or something. But I think a lot of people have also started thinking that maybe we can do a startup. See, what digital selling does is increase the scalability. Suppose you're doing a conventional supply, you're limited in so many ways, and your growth rate also gets limited. But suppose you hit on the right thing, say in digital selling, you can grow 10x in a couple of years, which in a traditional MSME would not happen. So the whole field becomes a little more exciting for somebody who's looking to create their own future. And two, of course, the younger generation is far more tech savvy. And they know about what can be done because they're consumers of everything now. We don't have TikTok here, but suppose you're selling globally, you can use TikTok now. There are so many things which they can do. So I think when we look for a person who's 20, 24, 25, who's finished their education, and they're looking to where they want to be in terms of what work they want to do. These things, scalability, working with a new exciting area, working in a growth area, these things do help. And I've seen families in which young people have come back and they have transformed in so many ways the business.
Now, ma'am, taking this forward, how can today's business owners prepare the next generation, especially if they're reluctant or not digitally trained, to take the e-commerce route seriously?
I think they just need to, tell them there's so many courses available online and, so many offline. I think one thing they should certainly do is encourage them, even if they spend a few months training themselves in social media, in e-commerce selling and digital selling. The other thing I would like to say, quite often when you start off the business, the sale is very minor. You'll say, I remember someone telling me when I'd started off, one old accountant of our family, I was quite young. So he said, "Ye kya gudde guddi ka khel khel rahe ho?" because numbers were so small. You would think it's a waste of time, What is this? It's just some good day. He just said, good day ka khel hai ye. It's a hobby you're doing. This is not business. But over time, the kind of growth I saw here was just so much superior to what I saw offline. So that encouragement, that space, that willingness to let the younger generation experiment, just letting them be for a while. Saying, acha karo, even if you take 6 months, 1 year, do it. You don't have to account for every minute of your time, or can get a couple of employees, support them. You don't have to. Here I would like to say, Deng Xiaoping had said, because when they were trying to create the new Chinese economy, and you didn't really have any set out pathways, how do you move from where they were to where they wanted to be? So 2 things he said. One is, of course, very famous, that if a cat catches mice, how does it matter if it is white or black? So long as you're generating business, it doesn't matter what method you're using. At the end of the day, you're looking for business and profits and growth, right? The second thing he said is, we don't know how to cross this river. So we have to cross this river by feeling the stones with our feet. So you go cautiously, step by step, figuring out whether you're going on the right path. You don't jump in the middle of the river and hope for the best. You cautiously do it. But I would just say, MSME owners, encourage your children. They should, of course, know the basics of your business. But beyond them, tell them, I don't need you to do the regular stuff. Keep accounts karo, visit our customers, this, that. No. I'm giving you a year. I'm giving you 2 years. Please create for me an online presence. Please do sales. Don't just try to make that child a clone of yourself. You're good enough to be yourself. You don't need a clone. Make them do something else. Make them look at something new. उसको थोड़ा छूट दो, पैसा का support दो, not crazy, but let them say, can I afford to lose 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs? Sure you can. छुट्टी में खर्च कर देते हो भाई, एक शादी के फंक्शन में खर्च कर देते हो. Give it to that child and let them just play with it. And if it fails, don't be harsh.
Ma'am, you work with a lot of...
I'd like to just add one thing. I think especially for women at all levels, women, and especially women who are artisans or who cannot afford too many employees, e-commerce can be a boon. Because the fact is, it shouldn't be so, but until things change, women have mobility issues. If you tell them, go do this 2 hours away, go meet this factory owner and sell to them, it will be a problem for most people. Not all, but for most. Second is, they have many demands on their time. Children, family, elder care, child care, social. If there is your nanad ki shaadi hai, husband can come in last minute, you can't. So they have demands on their time. Now the thing about e-commerce and selling online is you can structure it. It doesn't have to be 100%. It's not like a 9 to 5 job where you have to go in the morning and come back in the evening and figure out what to do with your kids and figure out how to take leave if there is anything. If you're running your own e-commerce business, you're the master of your time. If something needs to be done, you need to be at home at 3 o'clock, you can be at home at 3 o'clock. And you can, you can structure and do your work. And even for collections, especially if you're doing D2C, everything is coming into your account. You don't have to go anywhere to collect and chase people and all of that. You can. So for women particularly, e-commerce is a beautiful option.
Got it. And because, ma'am, you work so closely with women entrepreneurs, in your view, how does encouraging more women into MSMEs help with long-term continuity and succession planning?
I think one thing to realize is that a lot of people now are having 2 or even 1 child. And most of those, so there will be maybe 20, 25, 30% of the families who don't have a son. Now, who is going to look after their business? Earlier, what would happen in such a situation is it was a joint family, your nephew would come in, brothers, whatever. Some boy would be there in the extended family who would take it. Now we have a trend for nuclear families. So that has become less. Earlier, your daughter would get married at 18 or 19 or 20 and your son-in-law would come in. Now the girls are getting married at 27, 28. They have their own identities. So, one, you have girls coming into business in much larger numbers. When I started out 40 years ago, I would hardly meet any, businesswomen were rare. Now it's pretty common. And as I said, again, e-commerce is physically much less taxing on women and far more flexible. So this is something that would, I think, help with the induction of women, because in spite of all that I'm saying, women do have more demands on their time. That's not how it should be, and all housework should be shared equally and all of these responsibilities should be shared, but we are not there yet, not by a mile.
Right. That's correct, ma'am. If you had to give MSMEs 3 must-dos to future-proof their business through e-commerce, what would those be?
3.
Yeah.
I think one is get on the platforms. If you have any product that consumers could directly buy, you identify 3, 4, 5 top platforms, get on them. Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, whatever. If Etsy, eBay, whatever suits your product, and don't just rely on one. 2, create your own website and your own selling thing. Because today, even if you are selling offline, people are going to verify you online. So you need to have an online visibility and an online presence and an online credibility creation. And so you need to create your social media presence. And don't stinge on the quality, because that's all they know about you. Gandhi se picture lagaoge, they'll say ganda sa company, and that'll be the end of that. So you need to, maybe if you have to spend a little, and it's hard as an MSME owner, we like to see immediate returns to whatever we are doing. And brand building is a longer time return. Suppose I say photo le raha hai, he's charging me 10,000 rupees to put these photos. So mere paas bhi camera hai, I'll do it for free. Just little bit, just consider this an investment. So 3 advice, as I said: social media presence, create your own website from which you can sell, and please be very responsive on that website. Don't just create it and then some customer is writing and nobody is responding to them. Don't do that. And 3rd is get on the platforms. And 4th, I would like to say, look at global markets. Don't just restrict yourself with India. Earlier, global markets, when you're doing B2B, was very difficult. With B2C, it's not that difficult. And the money, what you sell for 1,000 rupees in India, you will sell for 3,000 rupees in the US. And it makes all the difference.
And ma'am, finally, looking ahead, what gives you hope about India's small businesses, especially manufacturers, in that digital-first future?
Just as a historian, and I've written a number of books on history, is something I would like to say. India was the foremost industrial country for most of history. We had the highest percentage of our GDP coming from industry. We were exporters of manufactured products, textiles, and things right from, 1500, from 2000 years 3,000 years. We were major, even Harappan times, we were manufactured jewelry exporters. We were textile exporters. We would send to Egypt and we would send to Babylonia. We could do that due to two reasons. One, of course, we were very fertile. So, you didn't need all the population to grow food. So you had other people who could be available for producing and in manufacturing. And second is, as I said, we have a fierce spirit of entrepreneurship, the traditional entrepreneurial traditional communities which are still there. Today, we have had, of course, over time with colonialism and so many other reasons, we don't have that much of a percentage in production. But now, I think we have the people. We have a history and a tradition of entrepreneurship. And Indians are educated and they really have a can-do spirit. I think now is the time we can really grab back the global markets where we were the top exporters in the world for most of history. There is no reason we cannot become the top exporters in the world again.
And this brings us to the end of a very special 100th episode of MSME Masterclass. A heartfelt thank you to you, ma'am, for being our invaluable guest on the show and for sharing your insights with our people.
Thank you so much, Amrita. I hope this helps people. I hope just even if 2 or 3 people get inspired, I will be very happy.
They will certainly get inspired, ma'am. You have shared really detailed insights and they will definitely help our MSMEs grow into a much larger and successful organization. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our engaged and supportive audience through this journey. Your participation and trust is what makes this series truly invaluable and meaningful. We promise to keep bringing you relevant, actionable, and forward-looking conversations to help you grow your business smarter and stronger. Wishing you, ma'am, and the teams who are online a Merry Christmas and a very happy and successful New Year. We'll see you again in 2026 with more such masterclasses. Until then, take care and keep building. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.